And hello, all you lovely people out there. How are you all doing? I'm Kate Hill, and I am here, as always, to give you the best, unbiased and honest commentary on property, along with fantastic hints and tips. Today, stay tuned for a little rant and all your latest property news. There are more and more credible analysts making forecasts for Australian property prices, which contradict the sensationalist and alarmist predictions we are seeing in the media in recent weeks. The more sensible commentators are suggesting that any post-boom correction in residential property prices will be relatively moderate, and many locations will continue to deliver solid growth. They are also commenting that the general media theme that rising interest rates cause property markets to collapse is unreasonable and not based on any historical precedents. As Terry Ryder says, Australian consumers interested in the housing market could actually be forgiven for not being aware of any of this because professional analysts making sensible, well-researched forecasts about prices are not receiving anywhere near the same level of media coverage as those who are predicting a spectacular collapse in prices. We are seeing it again this week, and there are no surprises there. Here in Australia, mainstream media loves to cause fear and alarm, and it doesn't care about accuracy or fairness, and they're certainly not interested in helping consumers or providing information that is actually useful to us. To quote Terry again, there are a number of high-profile individuals and businesses out there who simply crave media profile, either for reasons of ego or because they think that constant publicity is good for their business. They know that journalists are more likely to give them free publicity if they say something sensationally negative than if they present calm, sensible, reasoned viewpoints based on quality analysis. And remember that, for example, some of them announced in 2005 that there would be absolutely no growth in property anywhere in Australia for the next 10 years. The Reserve Bank also has criticised people making these alarmist forecasts, which I would remind you are similar to those forecasts made by the same people earlier in 2020 when COVID first appeared. And of course, they were all spectacularly wrong way back then as well. But the media wants sensational negatives, and they will publish anyone willing to provide it, regardless of whether it's based on accuracy or fact. You must be aware of this. So what are the facts? The last time that Australia experienced a period of repeated interest rate rises from 2002 to 2008, property prices rose strongly across the nation. One of the key factors underpinning Australian property values, the serious shortage of dwellings, which is reflected in record low vacancy rates and rising rents. Michael Matuzik's analysis indicates that house prices overall are still rising, though not, of course, at the same boom time rates that we saw in 21. And his forecast for the year is a 1% fall in the nation's median house price. The wealth editor at the Australian newspaper says that those who predict a 20% price drop will be proven wrong, and investors who wait for big price falls will be punished because they will miss the best opportunities to buy well. I know everybody loves to follow the herd. Experienced real estate economist Nerida Conisbee says that there is very little evidence that the market will see a sharp correction in prices. She says, I don't know where these forecast declines are going to come from. The conditions are just not in place for the sort of house price decline that people are publishing. There are a growing number of experienced property industry analysts forecasting that property prices will rise in 23 for a host of reasons, including the return of overseas migrants in large numbers, the end of interest rate rises, and the possibility that rates may actually fall next year, and the serious shortage of dwellings in Australia, exacerbated by the number of big projects that are being cancelled or deferred because of rising construction costs, supply chain issues. So I urge you to tune out this white media noise and just get on with it. If you're thinking of buying, you want to build your portfolio, don't let the media attention-seeking people out there stop you. Rental properties are being snapped up faster than ever before, with new data revealing that they stay on the market for an average of only 19 days. PropTrack analysis shows that the city where properties rent the quickest is Brisbane, where they last on average only 15 days. Adelaide properties rent on an average of 16 days, while homes also rent really quickly in Perth, Darwin, Hobart, Sydney and Melbourne, pretty much everywhere else. The PropTrack analysis shows that the number of total available rental listings is almost a third lower than pre-pandemic levels. Rents are up 8% on average compared with the same time last year, but some markets have recorded 20% increases. Competition for rental properties will become tougher as international migrants return to Australia. The number of international students, for example, applying for visas has hit a record high, with June recording the largest number of applicants in a single month in the past 10 years. Auction volumes have also increased for the second week in a row, hitting a 12-week high ahead of the spring selling season. The number of properties taken to auction in Melbourne increased by 23% in the past week, while Sydney's total increased 6.3%. Despite the increase in listings, the national clearance rate hit 63% last week. SQM Research Managing Director says that auction levels are lifting ahead of the start of the spring selling season. In the smaller cities, Brisbane and Adelaide, the clearance rate in Brisbane was 44%, in Adelaide 68%. They don't have that many auctions. Canberra was at 67%. CoreLogic says that the two biggest housing markets in Australia have most likely been through the worst of their market declines, which were very small. The rate of price decline was very small, has eased in both Sydney and Melbourne. Property economist Andrew Wilson says Sydney in particular is approaching the bottom of the correction, as Australia's economic performance is going much better than expected, which could result in a shallower correction than predicted, alarmist predictions by bank and other economists. Interest rate rises have done very little to dampen consumer confidence. Consumer confidence increased by 4.9% last week, according to the regular ANZ Roy Morgan survey. The report found that confidence in terms of current financial conditions increased by 5.4%, while confidence in future financial conditions increased 8.2%. That's a lot. Confidence in the current economic conditions rose 13.8%. The ANZ head of Australian economics says that confidence is up very strongly in Western Australia and also made solid gains in New South Wales and Victoria. The latest ABS figures show that the unemployment rate fell from 3.5% to 3.4% in July, the number of unemployed people falling by 20,000. We will keep you posted on all things property from around Australia as our year progresses. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you didn't mind my little rant and my reasoned analysis of why it's not going to crash. And give me a little subscribe if you are enjoying all the free content. And I will see you again really soon. Bye.